My wife and I bought a Lovesac Sactional couch this year, and this video is going to be a full review of the buying experience, the delivery, the assembly, the mistake that I made, and most importantly, are we happy with it and would we do it again? First off, let's talk about the buying experience. We're pretty lucky in this situation because we live in a city that has a Lovesac store that we can go into, but before I went in there, I went online. I went to their website, was able to see their specials, and I'll get back to that in a second because it's a very important point. The website is very easy to navigate, although I would do it on a laptop or desktop. For some reason, it may be an iPhone thing, it was kind of clunky, and I always ended up going back to the laptop. But when I went to the website, they were offering a 30% discount, but additionally, they also offered a 5% discount for teachers and healthcare workers, and I fall into one of those categories. So basically, I went all the way through the process designing the couch that I wanted, but I didn't click purchase because I wanted to go to the store and at least kind of sit in it. When we went to the store, he talked us through all the options. We were able to see the different fabrics and feel the different fabrics. Additionally, there's like a little Lego area where you can go and design and pretty much build the couch that you want delivered to your home. You can kind of see it in a 3D space. It's pretty neat. But the one thing I will say is the salesman did offer the 30% discount, but he didn't say anything about that additional 5% discount for healthcare workers and teachers that I saw on the website. And when I brought it up, he seemed to be aware of it and added that 5% discount, no problem at all. So the one thing I would say is if you live in an area where you don't have a Lovesac nearby, based on my experience of almost purchasing it online and then going to the store, I think online they're pretty transparent with all the discounts that you're going to be able to get, so I wouldn't have a problem recommending buying it online. Right before we left the store, he reminded that it's going to be coming in boxes, a lot of boxes. And he also says because they don't have ultimate control over the shipping, but ultimately he said everything should be delivered in about 1 to 3 weeks. I was very pleased to see that it came pretty early. You really get to know your FedEx person when they're delivering that many boxes, and man, it really is a lot of boxes. But that was the point. I needed small boxes so I could personally get them up our narrow staircase. So yes, it's a lot, but buying a couch like this and shipping it this way was pretty much necessary for my situation. Okay, now let's talk about the assembly. You are going to spend a lot of time unboxing everything. And at first, once you get everything unboxed, or even when you start the unboxing process and you kind of see what's involved, admittedly, it's a little bit overwhelming. The best piece of advice I got was from the guy working at the store. He says, when you start assembling your Lovesac, start by assembling one aspect of the couch and continuing doing that. For example, if you want to start by building the cushions, start building the cushions and you get in kind of a rhythm. The seats or the sides, and that's what we did. We started by doing all of the sides. The sides were pretty simple. You just basically take them out of the box and then you put the cover on. The sides were shipped all in their boxes. The covers were shipped separately in their boxes. In those boxes, additionally, were all the hardware that we'll get to in a second. The sides were the simplest. You just slide the covers over the top and then it uses Velcro to come together. Velcro on the surface might not sound the most sturdy of sort of sealing mechanisms, but it goes 360 degrees all the way around the edges and it was really strong. I was kind of impressed. In fact, when you go to remove it, for example, if you want to clean it, it's actually kind of hard to get the Velcro to come up. The fact that it goes all the way around the base, there's no loose sections or wrinkles in the sides, I was pretty happy with how it came together. So the next thing we started to do were the cushions. To keep the amount of shipping boxes as small as possible, they actually ship the cushions inside the seats. So you'll need to take a few minutes to kind of pull out the metal dowels that secure them into place. Lovesac pretty much says on their website that all of their materials are fairly water resistant, but when I was in the store, he didn't really say it's waterproof. To be able to say waterproof, you did have the option of buying an additional cover that goes around the cushions and the seats, and because we have dogs, because we have young kids, and heck, I spill things from time to time. Most importantly, I want this couch to last a very long time. We ended up buying the waterproof sheets that go around it. Unfortunately, we haven't had to see if they work yet, but I am glad I did it. So for us, we would fluff out the cushions, put the waterproof lining on top of it, and then the seat cushion liner on top of that. It was pretty simple. Next, it was time for the actual seats to do it, and it was pretty much the same thing. Put the waterproof liner around it, and then do your outer covers. For this, you're going to want to make sure the creases line up just perfectly because everything fits so tight with that Velcro to keep it from wrinkling. If the creases are off just a little bit, it's not going to work, and you'll end up having to take the whole thing off and try again. So take your time, line up the creases, and it'll work just fine. If you buy a Lovesac, once you get everything all settled up there in the boxes and out of the boxes, trust me, it does seem a little bit overwhelming, but after you go through the first round or two, it's not that bad. Now that we had everything assembled, it was time to kind of put it together and form our couch. Unfortunately, our middle section was missing. We got a note from FedEx saying that was coming later, so we basically spent the first day assembling what we had, and we decided to assemble the outer edges of it. And this is where I made a huge mistake. When I was in the store, they give you the option to buy a seat that's a little bit longer, meant more for relaxing, or a shorter seat that's more of a traditional couch, more for sitting up. I went for the longer version, but my mistake was when I was putting it together, I didn't assemble it the long way, I assembled it the short way. I really wasn't thinking. So when we put our couch together in the middle, we didn't have the same amount of space in the middle as we did on the outside. So I thought the middle section they were sending must have been different, must have been shorter, and that's what they were about to send us. So when it came in the mail a few days later and I saw it was the exact same size as the other cushion, I thought a mistake had been made because it wasn't fitting in the middle piece. I don't know how long I stood there thinking about it, but it was way too long until I ultimately realized that the seat cushions needed to be set the long way, and then everything came together just fine. That's the mistake I made. Just be sure and take your time putting it together, assembling or aligning the cushion pieces the way they're supposed to be aligned. And speaking of assembling, it really is pretty simple. You don't need any extra hardware, you don't need any drills, mallets, or hammers. Basically, it comes with these square grids that will help hold the couch pieces together. In the square grids is where you're going to put the legs of the couches, and as things come together, they have these metal clamps that'll go between the sides and the seat cushions and the seats themselves that hold everything together. It doesn't look like much, but it is very sturdy once you sit in it and start to relax. So in the end, my wife and I are very pleased with the results. So regarding the second room remaining that we still need to furnish, will we go back to Lovesac? Yes. And if you want to save some money on top of the discounts that they advertise, click on my link in the referral. I hope you enjoy your new couch if you decide to get one, and I'll see you next time.